On today's episode of Monetize the Mic, I'm going to be talking about how to write your interview topics and questions. So, your podcast one sheet is a one-page PDF that has your bio, it has suggested interview topics and suggested interview questions. And this one sheet is a tool that is used to not only get you booked for a podcast interview, right? It shows the host who you are, what you can talk about. It gives them a sense of what an interview with you would sound like. It gives them a sense of, do they have value for my audience? It also is a tool to help prepare the host because they can read your bio as an introduction. They can use the interview topics to inspire conversations with you on the podcast, and they could read the suggested interview questions verbatim as a way to guide the interview and set you up for success because you are giving this one sheet to the host. Your topics and questions need to be strategic. They have to be intentional to help you meet the goals you've set as a podcast guest. So, number one, what are the biggest breakthroughs that you help your clients to achieve? And again, I say outside the box because you're not going to answer that question and say, oh, my interview topic should be blah, blah, blah. I want you to go ahead, write out these questions and answer them. And through thinking about all of this, ideas will spark. So you kind of just have to come with me on this ride and trust that as you go through these prompts and as you answer these questions, you'll come up with ideas that you wouldn't have if I just said, what's your expertise? And that's the mistake most people make when they're writing their interview topics. They think, what's my expertise? What do I want to say? Right? So these are the questions that you have to answer in order to create interview topics that get you booked and stand you out. So number one, what are the biggest breakthroughs you can help your clients to achieve? Next, list out the biggest results you have seen your clients achieve as a result of working with you, right? List those out. This is a really important exercise we do. This is not only really good for your mindset to stack your wins and to look at the results you've helped your clients to achieve. But again, by listing all of this out, by writing out the biggest breakthroughs you've helped your clients to achieve, by writing down all the results, you will start to see a pattern of your unique expertise and what should go on your one sheet. Next, ask yourself, what are the deepest passions that you have? These may or may not relate to your business, but write out, what are the deepest passions? Like, what are you most passionate about? What is your vision for your company? What is the impact you want to have on the world? So this is really getting to a deeper level than just like, what's your expertise and what do you want to teach? That's all surface level, right? But what is the impact that you want to have? What are you really, really passionate about? So I could say for me, I could say my expertise is in podcast guesting. I'm going to teach you how to get booked and be a podcast guest. Like that is surface level. That is my expertise. That's what I do. But when I ask the question of like, what is my, my deep passion? What is the vision we have? Like, what is the impact I want to have? I am incredibly passionate about people living to their full potential. I am incredibly passionate about entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs. I'm personally passionate about, women and moms who start a business to achieve freedom, to really get their message out to the world, to step out of their comfort zone and confront any fears they have about their self-worth and have the greatest impact that they can have. Like that's my deep passion. And podcast guesting is a vehicle that helps me help them get to that. So really ask yourself, what are those deep passions? What goes a couple layers deeper than your initial, surface level expertise and things that you could talk about? What are your convictions? What are your beliefs about your industry, the industry that you're in that may be a little polarizing, that makes people want to stop and listen? This is a really important question to answer if you're in a really crowded field, right? Maybe you are a financial planner or a wealth manager, and there's really distinct ways of doing things. If you do things really differently, write that down. Again, we are prompting here. We are journaling out. We are getting ideas out of our head. And from getting these ideas out of your head, you will see patterns and you'll be like, oh my God, I have to talk about that on podcast. I've got to get that on my one sheet. What are your clients' biggest pain points? What are the pain points that your clients struggle with the most? Don't limit yourself to just thinking about the pain points that you help them to solve. Because when you're brainstorming and when you're kind of just like getting everything out of your head, when you're brain dumping, you don't want to filter. So watch yourself. If you're like, well, they have that pain point, but I don't really help them with that. Don't worry about that. Just write it down. Okay. So write down like all of the pain points that your clients experience and write it down. And then next, what are the solutions that you have for those pain points? And so that's where you'll start to get into like how you help people. So these are the questions that if you can spend an hour, or maybe you'll need more time writing out, you will see so many possible interview topics and questions that you probably never would have thought of if you just sat down with a Google Doc and said, what's my expertise? So write all these out, send me a DM on Instagram at Interview Connections, and let me know what came to you. What ideas do you now have for your one sheet copy for your topics and questions that you weren't thinking about before you started brain dumping with these prompts?